Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My talk will be on quantifying the internet pet trade in indigenous reptiles. The internet has, over the years, become an instrumental tool for simplifying trade globally. It has made life easy and opened up new doors for novel means of trading. This obvious growth has, however, brought astounding changes to the way in which information is exchanged internationally. For example, it has provided online access to, immediate access to online literature for those people that are involved in research, such as myself, and I believe a lot of us in this room. However, it has also opened up new doors to illegal wildlife trading. Now, due to its secrecy and unregulated nature, the internet has provided virtually unlimited chances of unlawful activities to take place and increase without notice. Trade in wildlife, and including its products and live specimen, is estimated to be a multi-million rand industry. And the internet is regarded as one of the major challenges for wildlife conservation and animal welfare. Thanks to our hardworking government colleagues in legislature, there are some tools that are put into place to protect our wildlife from exploitation, such as the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, abbreviated CITES, which was established in 1973, and 176 countries are signatories to it. And then more locally, we have the threatened or protected species listed in accordance with the Section 56 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act 10 of 2004. The aim of the project was to investigate the internet pet trade in indigenous reptiles, and the objectives are as follows: to determine the extent to which South African reptiles are sold on the internet and the alleged origin of these reptiles, wild caught versus captive bred, which countries are involved in the internet trade, which website offer indigenous reptiles for sale, the prices, the life stages, to determine which species are predominantly traded and their IUCN red list and legislative statuses, and finally quantify the legal trade for those reptile species that are predominant on the internet trade. This project, as the chair has mentioned, I started last year, around about April or May, I think, and then I ended it in this year, February. It was a snapshot, and basically a desktop study was done where various websites were visited and the following data were recorded: adverts offering the reptiles for sale, the life stages of the reptiles on sale, the origin of the animals, the price at which the specimen is offered, the trading country, the date on which this advert was posted, number of individuals for sale, as well as the link of the website offering the reptiles for sale. And then the conservation statuses of the specimens were determined using the red list and the SACA project. In total, in South Africa, we have 413 reptile species, and out of all these, 24% are traded. Out of the 24, 5 are listed under the threatened IUCN categories, 6 are proposed for tops, 19 are listed on CITES, and 21 are endemic to South Africa. The table just shows the 6 species that are proposed for tops, and as you can see that the Gaboon adder and the python are in the protected category, and the rest are under the threatened category. And then this table just shows the 21 endemics that are also traded on the internet pet trade. Okay, then this lovely graph shows the top traded 10 species. And we can see that the leopard tortoise is leading up in the #1 spot with approximately 25 adverts recorded for it, followed by the Transvaal dwarf chameleon and the rest. Now, the thing is with the leopard tortoise, it is a more common species and it is widely distributed. And maybe that explains why it is in the #1 spot. And there's recently been reports that people tend to take these reptiles out of the wild while they're still young, nice and cute, and then keep them up until they grow to a certain height and they're big. They don't want them anymore, which they then take to the zoos, which the zoos don't know what to do and end up euthanizing them. And some people even release them out just on the street. I remember just this one day I was driving past Klibrivier Drive, south of Johannesburg, and I'd seen a tortoise literally crossing the highway. I was really disturbed. And then this graph just shows the top 10 traded genera. And in this graph, the genus Pachydactylus, which are the geckos, seem to be the most traded animals, with 71 adverts recorded, followed by genus Varanus, which are the monitor lizards, with 44 adverts recorded. And others are on the number 3 spot. You can see this gentleman hugging his monitor there. Okay, and then this table shows the top 10 traded species with the average advertised selling price, the number of adverts, the number of websites, and the price range. And I'd like to stress that these values that you're seeing there are estimates, and I had used the currency conversions at that time when I'd done finishing off this project. Those that are highlighted in yellow are those species that are on CITES. And then this one that's highlighted in red, the special one, the sun gazer, it's both on tops and proposed for tops, and it's also on CITES. And we can see that the Transvaal dwarf chameleon and the sun gazer are the most expensive species out of all these 10. But what I'd like to pay special attention to is the price range of a sun gazer, which you can get from 70 Rand to 12,000 Rand a specimen. And this table just shows the predominant websites, which are the websites that had the most adverts advertised on them. And we can see that faunaclassified.com is the websites where the adverts are posted, followed by Reptiles Classified from the UK, followed by the reptile forums, also from the UK, with 24 adverts recorded. And then this pie chart shows the countries involved in the pet trade. Now, because of most adverts not specifying the origin or maybe the countries that are trading, there is a large number of unknowns. But not considering that, we can see that the UK has the most trading percentage, which is 27%, with the USA and Germany both sharing the number 2 spot at 12% of the trade. South Africa is only responsible for about 2% of the international pet trade on the internet. And then looking at the graph on the pie chart, origin of the animals, again, due to websites not specifying where the animals were sourced from, there is a large number of unknowns. However, we can see that 23% of the adverts claim that the animals were captive bred, and only 4% were wild caught. In a similar situation with the life stages, there were no disclosing which life stage the animal is sold at. But you can see that 22% of the adverts were selling adults, 7% were selling juveniles, and only 4% were selling, 7% were selling babies and 6% were selling juveniles. This pie chart is also quite disturbing because now, if I am a breeder and I'm selling most of my adults, where will I get the next generation? So it's also quite disturbing. Okay, and then this table shows the top 10, from the top 10 traded animals, the 3 endemics, which are the sun gazer, the Transvaal dwarf chameleon, and the Natal dwarf chameleon. And I've got this data from the CITES trade database from the year 2000 to 2013. Looking at the sun gazer, we can see that we've exported about 506 individuals within this time frame. And these animals are said to be hard to breed, according to the Dutch Stud Bookkeepers Society, which say that there is no record whatsoever that the sun gazers are bred in captivity, except for one case which was done by a gentleman called Bert Langeworth, who unfortunately is deceased, who managed to breed these reptiles in captivity about 10 years ago. So now in South Africa, there is no one who has recorded that he or she has been breeding these reptiles. However, there is such a large number of exports, and particularly these exports are from KZN. and only one record from Gauteng. So that's also something for the KZN Wildlife to look into. And then I'd also like to highlight this sudden trend in the interest of transworld dove chameleons. As you can see, from the year 2000 to 2008, there were no exports whatsoever. Suddenly, in 2009 till 2012, a large number of these reptiles were exported. So this does say a lot about the trade. Probably someone is sourcing these from the wild and shipping them off. And how they get permits, it's also a big question. So in conclusion, 24% of South African reptiles, indigenous reptiles, are traded on the internet. Therefore, there is a need to monitor this trade as it is considered to be one of the major threats to biodiversity. It is also a big threat to biosecurity, as it is a potential gateway to introduce invasives as well as pathogens. Thank you very much.